Let's get it. Some of you are looking at the thumbnail and saying to me, James, are you trying to say that Robin Brown is a Marvel cartoon villain who just snapped half of existence out of existence? No, I'm not trying to say that Robin Brown's trying to destroy the world or the universe. That's not what I'm saying. But she is destroying the Brown family. Hello, let's talk about it, all right? I'm not even saying that for the most part that Robin's a horrible person, because she's a hard nut to crack. And when I say nut, I'm putting emphasis on nut. Like, this lady is nuttier than a payday. But I think that part of the disjointment that she suffers from is actually trauma that she suffered when she was a child. I think that a lot of what she carries around is the rejection of her youth. Maybe she felt rejected. Maybe she was traumatized. Maybe she was moved around. Maybe she felt like she was on the outside, alienated by herself, isolated. She didn't feel like she had a lot of folks that she could trust, or whatever the case may be. She wasn't the cool kid in school. I don't know, but I'm just saying that there's a lot of things that would lend me that belief. Now, when I look at it, and we talk about her reception on the Sister Wives, whether she's considered to be the hero or the villain, the good guy, the bad guy, whatever the case may be. There was an artist or a writer not long ago, and I wish I could remember his name. I would include it if I could somewhere around here, but I can't remember who it is. But he had this to say about the difference between a hero and a villain. He said that a hero and a villain share the same story arc. They have the same origin, and for the most part, both are victims, or at least suffer from some tragic loss. Usually they became orphans or whatever the case may be. But it was a huge loss for this person. And the only difference between the hero and the villain is ultimately how they react to that trauma that they received. Like, for instance, the hero will go through something, experience some tragic loss or whatever the case may be, and he will look at that loss, internalize it, and say, I am going to make sure that nobody else feels this pain, and nobody else is going through what I'm going through. The villain, on the other hand, just like the hero, experiences that tremendous loss, and he says, or she says in this case, I felt this, and I'm going to make sure everybody else feel it too. And I think that that's what I see with Robin for the most part. Like, she's experienced things in her youth and maybe into her adulthood, and she's internalized it. And because she's internalized it and she feels this way about a certain thing, then she expects everybody else to feel that same level of pain. She expects everybody else to have that same experience that she has. And that's one of the dangers in dealing with somebody like Robin. Now, before I get into it, I would simply ask that if you guys are enjoying my content, go ahead and give me the thumbs up. You can give me the thumbs up now. It'd be great to do. Because I'm not sure if you guys are really liking the videos or you just hate watching them. Like, I can't stand this dude. Why he's so wrong all the time? So go ahead and give me that thumbs up. Let me know you guys are enjoying the videos. Also, if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, I would ask that you consider subscribing. It's easy to do. And guess what, y'all? It's free. My favorite, well, maybe not my favorite, but one of my top 5 favorite 4-letter F words, free, okay? It's easy to do. It helps the channel out. It helps me out. And hey, who doesn't want to help a brother out? So go ahead and give me that HBO special, which stands for Help a Brother Out Special. Click the subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and you will be notified when I drop new videos, as well as hopefully soon, very soon, when I go live and we start to talk about these nuts in person. All right, so here we go. Let's get it. Now, when I talk about Robin and how she's kind of been acting, this obviously goes for most of the seasons that I've seen, but specifically for season 18, as she started to talk about the relationship and the breakups, what we're seeing is Robin trying to exert control, ultimate control. And that's one of the problems that I have with both Robin and Cody. They try to dictate how you feel about things, what you say about things, how you should take things that they do. Oh, if I, in Cody's part, if I go hang out with Robin, I don't know why these other wives are mad, because this is something I decided to do. When Cody comes to hang out at Robin's house, I don't know why these other women are mad, because I have a pear and they have an orange. I have a pear and they have a plum. They're both fruit. Yeah, but he's, never mind. I'm not even going to say that. That's wrong. And dirty. The whole thing is that we can see kind of this manipulative control and megalomania throughout Robin's presentation, especially in this next clip.
One of the things that is confusing for me is that I don't see the deal breakers between Cody and Christine. But I don't mean to cast judgment, but and maybe it's just my perception, but I don't see where either one of them did something so heinous and horrible that it just had to end. And I can't seem to kind of understand.
I can't understand nothing. You know what I hate? People who pretend that they don't understand stuff, but then want to be experts on everything. How you gonna know everything and nothing at the same time? If you don't know, shut the hell up. And listen, and maybe you'll find out. Maybe instead of you trying to tell Christine how she should feel about stuff and how she should take stuff, you actually listen to what she was going through and what she was saying, you would have a better understanding why she left. And it might have helped you be able to counsel Cody better as to why she left. When she sits there and says things like, oh, when she, Cody's such a ray of sunshine and he didn't understand it. He had such a positive outlook. He didn't understand it when Christine packed all his crap up, put it in the garage and kicked him out of the house, and she was actually considered leaving him. So when he came back and he started telling you all this stuff, were you sitting there saying, no, because she can't feel that way because I won't allow it? I mean, and then the idea that you're going to sit there and pretend not to judge somebody as you particularly are judging somebody. Come on, man. Now I feel like you're trying to manipulate me. That is insane. Like, I get over here to process my childhood. These are not the droids you're looking for. You may go. Like, are you insane? Like, for the Star Wars fans, they trying to mind control you. And then that's what she does. And I couldn't imagine being in this situation where you're trying to deal with this on a day-to-day basis, and something happens, and then you have some nut job standing there telling you that it didn't happen, and if it did happen, it didn't happen the way you thought it happened, and you shouldn't feel the way you feel about it. And further, there's a point where Christine and, more to the point, Robin tries to make excuses for Cody. And I noticed that, like, because she's all about Cody right now. And I say right now because the money ain't fell through yet. Let that money start coming up short, and you're going to see a big change in the excuse making. There's no more excuses for Cody when, he turn around and say, baby, we're going to have to move again in this house. Yeah, we can't afford to live here no more. Then all of a sudden, excuses are going to stop as to what he feeling, all the weight on his shoulders, all the stuff he going through. Okay? But right now, she's sitting there trying to make excuses as to why Christine is at fault for Cody failing to have a relationship with his children. Let's take a listen.
It's really important for wives and mothers to help those relationships that the dad has with his children, because he's not there all the time.
So it's really important for the mothers to help the fathers with these relationships with their children. So essentially what she's saying is, it's the mother's responsibility to manage those relationships. And this, to me, points out the very thing that I'm talking about. It not only says that Cody's not at fault for the relationship falling apart between Christine and Janelle's kids. It's their fault that Cody doesn't have a good relationship. But a little bit deeper than that, it reveals her perspective on how she thinks mothers have control over the thoughts and feelings of children and their children. This is a form of control. As a mother, I can control how my kids feel about their father. So if their father goes off and he runs around with a bunch of other women, I can control how they feel about it. And how do you control how they feel, per se? You manipulate the hell out of them. And I wasn't going to say hell. I was going to use one of my other 4-letter F words. Favorite 4-letter F words. But you manipulate the heck out of them. And that's how I think she's doing it. And I'm going to bring the receipts later because James, bring the receipts. All right. So this next clip that I want to show is Christine's response to this particular allegation. Let's listen to what she has to say.
It is my responsibility to be a mom and to be a mother, and it's my favorite thing that I do in this life. It's his responsibility
Hell
to create
yeah.
a good relationship with his children, and it always has been.
That's what I'm talking about, son. That's what I've been saying the whole time. That's what I've been talking about. Instead of Robin sitting there trying to make excuses for what Cody's doing or what Cody's not doing, how he's treating his kids, how he's not treating his kids, whether he comes around or he don't come around, and why it's the other woman's fault, she needs to look at herself. Because when push comes down to shove, people will do what people do. And if he's mistreating and neglecting these other women's kids, given a good ramp and a runway, he will neglect your children too. You want to make sure that he's doing the right thing. Don't stand by the wrong thing. I'm not saying that you can't support him, you can't love him, you can't take care of him, and you can't still be married to him. But what I am saying is call it like it is. If he's wrong, tell a man he's wrong. You have zero value to somebody if you're not giving them good advice. If you're not giving them good guidance, you're not giving them good counsel, you're not helping them. You're not helping Cody by telling him that everything he does is right and everything these women do is wrong. And for the most part, I 100% agree with what Christine was saying. I've been saying that the entire time I've been reviewing these shows, since I started watching these shows. I know a lot of people put a lot of weight on Robin and a lot of blame on Robin because I do think that she bears some responsibility, if not a good portion of the responsibility in the breakdown of this family. However, at the end of the day, because Cody wants to be the patriarch, and maybe it's a guy thing, maybe I'm looking at him and I'm wanting to hold him accountable harder. But when I'm looking at this, I'm telling you that there's nothing that she could do with regard to his relationship with his kids unless he allows it to happen. Cody has to go along with it. He has to co-sign it. He has to agree with her. So when she says, don't call them kids, don't spend time with them kids, Cody has to go along with that. When she says, I want you at my house every day so you can tuck my kids in the bed at night, screw those other kids, Cody has to come home and then close the door, lock the door, then run upstairs so he can tuck in Robin's kids. That's a decision that he's making. What Christine is saying is, it's on you to maintain that relationship. The ironic part is that earlier on, Cody had always held that he didn't want to be the hub of the family. If something were to happen to him, he wanted the family to continue. He wanted the family to keep going without him. He wanted the family to exist past him. He wanted these women and these ladies to have a relationship with each other. Remember? Because that's what he was yelling at Christine on her porch about. You need to look at the big picture. You try to have a relationship with me. It's not about me. And the same thing Christine said is what I've been saying the whole time. Well, when it comes to your kids, it's not about Christine. Christine ain't got nothing to do with your relationship with your kids. That's on you to maintain your relationship with your kids. It's not Christine's responsibility. It's your responsibility. But like I've been saying, in Robin's sense of trying to take control of the situation, she's trying to dictate everybody else's responsibility, how they should feel about things, how they should act towards things, how they should react towards things. And she's trying to control it. But like I said, this is just a form of manipulation and control that she's going to use with her kids. Now, what are the other receipts I brought? Because I brought the receipts. The next video I'm going to bring up is actually how Robin has manipulated and used the kids for her own benefit. And what I'm specifically going to start with is the Thanksgiving that Christine had just left the family, so obviously she's not coming over to Robin's house. Janelle decided she wasn't going to sit up at Robin's house. She was going to go down and spend time with her daughter Madison and her other kids at her house, at Madison's house, and the only one that came over was Mary, but apparently Mary doesn't matter. So let's take a look at that.
My 3 older kids, when I told them that we were going to be separate for Thanksgiving again, they dealt with feelings of rejection. They dealt with feelings of hurt and heartbreak.
So when I told my kids that the other people weren't coming over, they felt rejected. Because I know at the end of the day, Robin didn't just say, hey guys, they're not coming over this year for the holidays. Oh, I feel rejected. She peppered that bad boy up. What she said was, and I'm sure this is what she said, yeah, they're not coming over because they don't like you guys. Not, because they're leaving the family and they're not going to be with Cody anymore. Janelle wanted to go see her kids and spend time with her kids for the holidays, and we're not going to get together this year. That's not what she said. You aren't serving my needs, so therefore you're against me. And because you're against me and I'm not strong enough to have enemies on my own, I'm going to pull my kids into it. This is something that I immensely disagree with. I don't think that it's appropriate for a parent to have a disagreement with anybody else and pull their kids into it. This ain't the damn Hatfields and McCoys. Let that family feud crap go. If I don't get along with somebody, if I have a dispute with somebody, I don't want my kids involved with it. If you see Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so, you say hi to Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so. If I have a disagreement with them or I have a problem with them, then I have a problem with them. But you don't stop respecting people and dealing with people because I don't get along with them. The same way this transfers over, the same way you wouldn't expect Cody to stop being respected by Truly and the other kids simply because Christine and Cody are no longer together. I wouldn't expect Christine to tell her kids, yeah, that ain't your father no more because we're not together anymore. That would be inappropriate. That's most likely what happened at Robin's house. That's most likely what happened over there, which is why Cody thinks that Christine is talking crap about him behind his back, which is why Robin assumes that Christine is doing so much to break up the family because that's what Robin would do. A lot of times you can tell a lot about a person not by sometimes not by what they do, but what they think other people would do, because it's a revelation that this is something that if given a chance, they would do themselves. So this next part is a follow-up to that same conversation. Let's take a listen.
The question was asked, why don't they care? And,
what?
And they've dealt with that heartbreak before. So just reminding them that it's not necessarily personal. Apologizing to them for being the innocent parties in this. That they're getting hurt by this.
And this is part of what I'm talking about, because if you listen to her story, and this is what I was saying, this is substantiated to me because of what she said. They felt rejected. How would they feel rejected because somebody said they're not coming over? Okay, fine, they're not coming over. Were they expecting them to come over? This was a plan that they had already told them. Like, it wasn't a day of thing. It wasn't like they were planning for Janelle to show up. Then all of a sudden Janelle called that morning and said, hey guys, guess what? I'm going down to North Carolina to spend the holidays with Maddie and her family. She had already told them that. Plus, Janelle has a grandchild, so she very well may want to see her grandchild on this very special day. So just because this is something that she wants to do, that she needs to do, doesn't mean it's reflective of her, of you guys and your relationship. Other people can have other feelings. And this is kind of disturbing in the sense that this is teaching not only Robin, but it's teaching her kids to have a self-centered view of the world. Everything has to revolve around you. So if you want to spend time with somebody, you should be allowed to spend time with whoever you want, however you want, forever, how long you want, because this is what you want. And I think that that's completely inappropriate. We saw some of that when Ariel came home from school from the first day, and Cody and Robin got a call from the teacher where one of the kids said that Ariel was following her around and she didn't want to be bothered. She kept telling her, like, look, leave me alone. And Ariel refused to listen to no. She didn't want to hear that this child didn't want to hang out with her. This is because this is what she watches her mom do all the time. She tries to shoehorn her way into situations and it's all about me and you have to respect me and you have to want to be around me. And she took that to school. And it's very disturbing. People don't necessarily have to like you. People don't have to be your friend. Nobody owes you anything, Robin. And this is something that I would say to anybody. I tell my kids all the time, don't beg to be in somebody's situation. Don't beg to have relationships with people. If people don't want you around, don't go somewhere where you're booed and jeered. Go somewhere where you are cheered and celebrated. Okay? Don't hang out with people who don't want you around. If Janelle would rather be down with her family, let her go. Because she's only going to spoil your dinner. If you force Christine back into the family, do you think she's coming in and she's going to have a good attitude? Or do you think she's going to spoil all your holidays moving forward? You understand what I mean? So let that go. When you talk about the history of rejection, they've experienced this before. What you're talking about is the adoption farce that you pushed onto these children. You spent years telling these kids that nobody wants them, that their parent and their dad don't want them. That's why Cody had to adopt them, because their father don't want to have nothing to do with them, while you were keeping them kids away from their father. And now you're doing the same thing with Christine. And this is like when Cody sits there and says, I want you to take my kids away. This is why, because this is what he sees. This is his daily diet of watching you do this. And the truth of the matter is, like I said, this is not a Hatfield and McCoy situation. You don't have to have a family feud because you have a disagreement. You and Christine don't get along. You guys weren't friends before. I don't know why the hell you think you're going to be friends after the divorce. You didn't accept her either. And it was a rejection too. You were the favorite wife, so you didn't necessarily have to reject anybody because you were in a preferential treatment state. Another example of how this is a history of how they fight. Let's go back to season 17 when Christine had announced that she was going away and they came over for the big goodbye that McKelty had arranged, and everybody was like on different sides of the yard. It's the most pathetic thing I've ever seen. Let's take a look at Cody and what he says to the kids, because kids will tell on you. For those that don't know, kids will tell on you. Let's take a look at what Cody had to say to Ariel when she came over and she was going to start hugging people and saying goodbye.
Thank you.
Okay, safe travels. We'll see ya.
Thanks.
Just only me, okay? All right, we'll see you, sweetheart. I love you. I love you. Have a good trip, okay? All right.
See, and that's sad because not only, and I just noticed this as I was doing it today, not only was Ariel going to run over there and start giving out hugs, but Saul was actually moving forward too to start giving out hugs and say goodbye. Why? Because these kids don't know the difference. They just know that these are adults that they were hanging out with and adults that took care of them. They don't know that they're supposed to be mad at them. This is why it's so ridiculous. This is why it's so ridiculous. They're pulling their kids into a dispute that has nothing to do with their kids. Kids should stay in kids' places. Children should stay in children's places. Like, so you don't pull children into adult issues and adult problems. If you're having a problem with your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your friend, or whatever the case may be, that doesn't necessarily mean that your kid has anything to do with it. If your kid, imagine the insult. If Ariel and Saul were, walking in a store, shopping with their mom, Robin or Cody, and then they see Christine in the next aisle. Christine turns the corner, she sees the kids get excited and say, hi, Christine, hi, Mama Christine, whatever they call her. And Christine looks at them, turns the cart around and walks away. How insulting would that be? I would look at that and say, Christine, that's the most villainous thing you could do. That is the most juvenile, childish, ignorant crap you can pull. These are children. They have nothing to do with it. Why would I say that? Because these are kids and they have nothing to do with it. I don't think Christine would do this, by the way. But this is exactly what Cody and Robin are expecting from their children. They're expecting this type of loyalty. In order for you to show loyalty and fealty to me, you have to hate my enemies too. So when I don't get along with Christine, then you can't get along with Christine. Here's the clever thing about that type of relationship though. When you are making people that disposable, you're actually creating a vulnerability for yourself. When you're teaching your kids that they can cut people off left and right just because you tell them to, then they don't get close to anybody. And then later on, they will have the same problems and the same issues of control and wanting to be the center of everything that Robin has. This is part of the reason why, as adults and as parents, it's beneficial for us to go and try to work through our problems so that we don't pass those problems on to our kids. I've heard it equated to trying to empty a pool. You can't empty a pool all in one day, but every day you can walk out and you can take a cup with you and scoop out a little bit of that water and try to get rid of it. A little bit of your problem, a little bit of your tension. You just want to try to work on it and work on it. And it's a process. And that one day you may not empty the pool, but at least you won't pass a full pool on to your kids. And that's the inheritance that these kids are going to adopt because they're growing up in this crazy house. And even in that same day, let's take a listen to what Robin describes when Christine says that these kids are upset and how this separation and what Robin has been telling them is how it's affecting them. Let's take a listen to what first Christine says and then what Robin says in response.
It just seemed like Robin's kids were angry too. That was the hardest part, is that her kids
They're angry too. No, my kids weren't angry with her. They're sort of the innocent parties in all of this. All of the kids are. It's just devastating. It's just devastating.
And the crazy part is the older kids are old enough to where they can get the true download, right? And they can retain it a little better. So they're being told that the other parents don't like them, don't want them, and they probably got thrown in there. You know, they just like your dad. You know, they don't want you, but you guys are amazing. You're wonderful. Because while you're tearing them down and you're wrecking them and mentally, you're also trying to build them up and make them strong. So you're sitting there saying at the same time, like, oh, nobody wants you and nobody wants to be around you. They hate your guts. I don't know why they hate you so much. Oh, but you're lovely people and you're lovable and you deserve to be loved. Even though the people who are supposed to love you don't love you. And you don't understand why they a wreck, why they got problems, why they have low self-esteem, why they're insecure. Are you insane? This is part of the problem. And this is part of where I see there's a complication with the development and the way that Robin is trying to raise these kids and the way that her fragility is being passed on to these children. And like I said in my previous video, I think this is what a result of her older child, as we can see it, part of that fragility that I see in that child is that you can see the uncertainty, you can see the insecurities, you can see the unsteadiness. And they'll try to say that it's because she suffers from anxiety or whatever the case may be, and that very well may contribute to it. But I think that part of her issue is the fact that you keep telling her that nobody wants her. You keep telling her that she's not worthy of love. You can't love everybody enough to replace people. You're bringing these people into these kids' lives, and then you're trying to replace them because you don't want to do it anymore. And it's not fair. There was a video chat, and this, again, another example of what I'm talking about when it comes to control and power. There was a video chat that was proposed by, according to Peyton, Logan had sent out a message talking about doing a Pollyanna between the kids where they do a gift exchange at Christmas. According to McKelty, she suggested it. It doesn't really matter who suggested it or who put it, who was the first mover. At the end of the day, the kids were going to get together and start passing around presents because that would be the responsible thing to do, because you guys have been saying from the beginning that they're brothers and sisters and they're all siblings. So because the parents aren't getting along, that doesn't mean the kids automatically have to start hating each other. So they reach out, they say, hey, let's do some gifts and let's pass some presents around. And upon them sending out these text messages about trying to organize this Pollyanna, all of a sudden Robin sticks her big nose into it, and this is the result.
I was pushing for the video chat for the sake of the kids. When I was getting all this pushback, I just finally went, why am I trying here?
Why am I trying?
Fine, I'm out. You know, this is an effort.
That's my phrase. First of all, Robin, don't be trying to snatch my phrase. I'm out. Like, and if you notice what she said from the beginning, oh, I suggested we video chat, you know, because I was trying to do it for the kids. You're trying to do it for the kids. The kids are already talking. You don't have to get involved. The kids are already talking. Why are you getting involved so the kids can talk, you nutcase? You nutter butter. Why are you doing this? Why are you putting your nose in the business? You, especially if you're in a situation where some of the kids are upset because of you, theoretically, according to you and according to Cody, they're so mad at you. Why would you get involved? The kids are already talking. Let your kids stand on their own 2 feet and have these conversations with people who are their peers, instead of you coming in trying to Bigfoot the whole thing and take it over. It started out as a gesture from the kids to the kids. Let it remain that way so that they can have their relationship. Then she says something to the effect of, well, after it goes on back and forth and people started getting upset, I decided I'm out. I ain't no more involved, whatever. And my kids get upset and they mad because they took sides. And it spiraled out of control. Of course it's going to spiral out of control. And the big question for those people who will sit there and say, see, Robin's destroying everything. My question is this. Cody was copied on it too. The patriarch was copied on it too. The boss, right? The boss man was copied on it. How come he didn't say nothing? His view was, I wanted to stay neutral. I didn't really want to get involved. You know what I hear? The boss was already on the call. So, patriarch. So, if you're a patriarch and you want to take responsibility, then you should have head off the whole conversation. Look, Robin, let them deal with this how they want to deal with it. Kids, you guys should talk. And you should try to encourage that relationship between the brothers and sisters. You don't try to tell them that they shouldn't talk or they shouldn't deal with each other if they want to deal with each other. Now, if they have problems with one another on their own, then let them deal with their problems as they deal with their problems. Their problems are their problems. They'll work them out. But you have to allow your kids to grow up. And as they start to do this, Robin, of course, she starts to spiral, and then she starts to get out of control, and she starts to set her expectations high. And this is what she had to say.
It's just another example of them not wanting to be a family with us. It's been like this from the beginning. By the time the whole thing was over with, my older kids, Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna, did not feel comfortable being involved in the gift exchange anymore.
So by the time it was over, I had convinced my kids that they didn't want to have nothing to do with these other kids. But we're the ones who were on outside. Look, this whole victimization stuff, you got to put a pin in it, okay? Because if it was that bad and it's been this way since the beginning, why would you marry into a family that is not accepting you? Why would you marry and bring your kids into a family where they're being rejected and treated like crap? See, and I don't even think that, if I'm going to be honest, I don't think that the kids necessarily treated her kids like crap. Kids are kids, and kids will level you out. And that's one of the issues that I think Robin has with this situation. Her kids were being treated like everybody else's kids, and that was the problem. She wanted her kids to be treated special. She wanted her kids to be treated gently. She wanted the other kids to always kind of make her kids feel better about the situation. Kids are kids. If you ever see kids, like I remember, I mean, they don't do this anymore because you guys are all online and all that stuff. But when I was a kid, if you know how you made friends, you went outside. You didn't get online and sit in the house and look at the computer. You went outside. You'll walk around your neighborhood or wherever around your house, and you would look for other kids your age. You would walk up to those kids. You'll see the kids out there playing. You walk up to those kids. You say, hey, how you guys doing? My name is James. What's your name? And they say, my name is Tom, Frank, Henry. I had a friend named Scooby when I was a kid. Like, you know, I mean, everybody had that one friend. Here go Big Charlie, go Big Steve, little Tommy, fish face, half neck. You know what I mean? All this stuff. So you walk up, you introduce yourself. Then you see what they doing. And you say, can I play? Or one of them will ask you, you want to play? And then you know what you do as a kid? You play what they're playing. You don't go over there to these kids and all of a sudden demand, you see them playing basketball and you go over there and say, I like playing soccer, y'all. We gonna play soccer now? Like, you have to play what they playing, and that's how kids deal with each other. That's just an example. And in that example, the way Robin, at least the way she comes off to me, she would expect those other kids, when her kid walks up to say hi, hell, let's be honest. She wouldn't even expect her kid to go up to them. She would expect the brown kids to come over to her kids, ask her kids, what you want to do for fun? We do whatever you want. Then her kids are being accepted. But because her kids had to join into the fold, they had to blend into the family and not have the family blend into them, then all of a sudden it was a problem. And they're not being accepted. They're being rejected. These people don't never want you. And again, if these people never wanted you around, don't beg to be in a situation that you're not involved in and they don't want you in. Don't beg to go to a party you're not invited to. So if you were having these problems from before, why would you ask to be a part of the Brown family? You should have rejected Cody. I don't give a damn how Cody accepted you or how much he loved you or how much you loved him. If your kids aren't being accepted into the family and they're not a good fit for the family, which is part of the equation you have to make when you have kids and you get into a relationship, if your kids don't fit into that relationship, then that relationship is no bueno. It has to be all or nothing. It can't be, oh, dude really like me, so the kid's just going to have to take it. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going out and you're a guy and you're meeting a young lady and she don't like your kids, then she's not the one for you. If you're a young lady and you meet a guy and he don't want to be a parent, then, you need to find somebody who don't have kids. Simple as that. So I look at that and I don't feel the victimhood, but this is what she's trying to use in order for her to gain sympathy points with the audience, because she's trying to hold her kids up as these innocent victims of the Brown family kids' cruelty, which is a direct result of the other wives' cruelty.
My kids and I think it's heartbreaking and stupid because we don't understand. And here it is, just another reaffirmation of everything, all the messages we're getting, that we're the outsiders and we're on the other side. We're not. We refuse to be. We don't know what else to do.
Now, this is an example of what I was talking about previously, because as you may recall, I was saying that I think that a lot of the problems that Robin has, she's trying to transpose onto her children. And a lot of issues that she has are issues that she's carried over from her childhood when she felt like she was on the outside and she didn't have friends. And now she's trying to translate those, superimpose those problems, those issues onto her kids when it comes to the Brown family and when they have these disputes. Oh, they don't want us. We are being rejected. We don't have these relationships. Oh, we are in so much trouble. What's all this we crap? This is like you go out and commit a crime with your friends and you out there, hiding in the bushes and the cops run up on your buddy and then your buddy like, give it up, yo. All right, guys, they caught us. We all going to jail, yo. Tom, you under that blanket. They got us. Come on, man. Come on. James, you behind the car. Let's go. They got us. They didn't get us. They got you. What are you talking about? So and that's the whole thing. Like, stop over-including. If you are having a problem with people in your life, you're having that problem. Don't try to pass that problem on. See, and one of the other parts of that I just wanted to quickly address, if you're having a problem with somebody, say, you are in a relationship, you're having a problem with your significant other. You want somebody on your side. So you go tell your parents, your brother, your sister, your friends about this other person. Then what happens when your relationship works out? When you guys get together and you forgive one another, what happens from that point? Because your brother, sister, parents, friends aren't going to forget what this other person did to you. And they're going to carry that grudge. And they're still going to be mad about it. And as you sitting there, I don't understand why you so angry. I'm mad because this so-and-so did X, Y, Z to you. And you are sitting here turning a blind eye to the fact that he or she did it. And that creates a problem. This is part of the issue when you try to take your problems and give it to somebody else, because you might get over that problem, but because now that you made it somebody else's problem, you're telling them how to feel, and you can't tell them how to feel about the situation because they mad. You got them good and mad. Now they mad and they want to ride it all the way out. When it comes to the kids, again, she's using the kids as a shield for her feelings because she can't be hurt by herself. So she's pulling her kids in for company. Okay? Your kids don't need they don't need this on their shoulders. Your family is your choice, and especially in this situation, the Brown family was Robin's choice. Not one of these 3 and now 5 kids chose to join the Brown family. This was 100% Robin's decision. Now, if it didn't work out, if these people are nasty or whatever the case may be, then you bear some responsibility for that situation. But your kids, you're right, are innocent and they don't deserve any of it. And they don't deserve to be pulled into your problems. That's my take. I'm James. This has been my take on reality, and I'm out. That's the proper way to do it, Robin. 'Cause I've been living